So thank you very much, Miranda, for coming in and talking with me today. So you have been a part of my group coaching, which is called Life Empowerment for the Egg Mom. So I'm trying to recall how long you've been in there for exactly, but it must be about, has it been since the new year? Or was it before the new year?
It was actually, I'm pretty sure it was before the new year.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're probably going on almost 6 months now that you've
Yeah.
been with us. And I've been loving getting to know you more and watching you and your journey with yourself and with your horses and all that kind of stuff. It's been such an honor. And I'm really excited to kind of hear a little bit more about you. So before you jumped into the group coaching, where would you say that you were as a person, like kind of individually?
Yeah. So I was like everybody else, 2020 threw wrenches at everybody
Yep.
every which way, right?
Mhm.
So I'm not unique in that way. So in 2020, previous to that, I was a equine first aid instructor. Mom of two kids, wife, and generally an okay person. And I had a few things kind of go on, and in 2020 I lost my business for doing the equine first aid, and there was a lot to do with the reasons for that business kind of changing and me not pursuing that any longer. So all of a sudden I found myself very lost. What else was I going to do? I had done that for about 6 years.
Mm.
I had my kids both were out of the house now in 2020. So I was just kind of like, I don't know what to do. I had so many ideas, and yet I couldn't piece anything together. So that's kind of where I was. And just, I guess, yeah, you could just say really just lost, questioning what now, and that's what and I can't remember exactly what tipped me off to you, but it was a video or a post or something, and it was just like, what is this lady about, right? So then I just I think we connected, and I don't even know how it all began, but it was just kind of like, what is this? And it was, a feeling of a direction. I don't even know what drove me there, just a feeling, I guess.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. So when you were going through this kind of feeling of lost, and not really knowing which way to go, did that affect like your horse relationship, or was your horse relationship that you had changed already? Because like you said, like you've had kids and then they're empty nesters, and with your job transition, I'm assuming that there must have been some sort of stuff going on between you and your horses as well, because that kind of just happens when our life goes through big transitions, is our horses become affected as well.
Yeah. So, to kind of backtrack, my journey with horses, obviously, like many, has been a lifelong journey. I grew up with horses. And then as I had my kids, horses took a back seat, right? We weren't living on a farm. I was fortunate enough to be able to go to my parents and my neighbors, where they had horses, but I had nothing of my own. And then as my kids got a little older, we did move out into the country, so we were able to get a horse. And so then it was like, at that time, I was like, oh man, I'm really starting to learn all over again. So then my horsemanship just kind of grew, and I built, the relationships with those horses. I was riding a lot. And then I joined this equine business, thinking that it was going to take my horsemanship to the next level. Well, that didn't happen, right? So because I was so busy trying to build this business and traveling and working with other people and their horses, and don't get me wrong, I loved teaching the first aid and helping people with their horses, but then my horsemanship took a huge backseat. I'd get on and go riding. That was kind of it. And then I had one of my mares. So in 2015, I started cowboy mounted shooting. Nice. And then competed in that. And then in 2017, I really pushed hard to compete for a Canadian title. And thankfully, my horse and I, we did manage to pull that off.
Wow.
So that was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that was in about September of 2017. And September, October. And then anyways, November of 2017, my shooting mare that I just won the title on, colicked on me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and she needed colic surgery.
Oh,
so we went through that, and that's a huge recovery process.
Yeah.
It's a long process. And what I didn't take into consideration was the trauma of it for myself.
Yeah.
You know, I was to the point where I couldn't even look out my window and see her laying down because it would throw me into a full-blown panic attack.
Yeah.
So with that trauma happening, my horsemanship, I pushed all my horses away. I got way too emotional when I was out there with them, and I got way too stressed, just not being able to control what was happening.
Yeah.
You know, I was doing everything I could, but my mind was still, you know, so yeah, then all this happening in 2020, I was just like, I pushed myself so far away from the horses that, you know, I don't even know what you would say my relationship was, because I pushed it away.
Yeah.
Right. I just, you know, back up. You know, I just couldn't handle the emotions of it.
I think that is a struggle that so many of us face, honestly. Like, you go through a transition, some sort of a trauma. Now, for you, obviously, your horse got sick and needed, you know, emergency surgery. For some people, it can be a lameness, like an extreme lameness. It could be even an accident. It doesn't really matter what it is. When your relationship gets shifted so drastically, so quickly, it's such a natural thing for us to not, you know, dissociate that relationship then with that pain, you know, because that was so heightened. And I know, something that I've been learning, which is really fascinating, is that whole trapped emotions, you know, and that in that event, because it was so traumatic, those emotions literally got trapped inside of you. So then that, you know, that would make total sense, that why every time you seen your horse, you would get really emotional and, you know, probably fear that, are they okay? Are they going to die? Are they sick? Are they sleeping? Or are they colicking, you know? So yeah, I think that is relatable on so many levels. Wow. That is, I can't imagine. That would be quite an experience, a terrifying one for sure. So what changed when you decided to join the Life Empowerment Group, and you're kind of like, you know, you were looking for something? What was it that you were actually looking for, and what started to change between like you and your horse as you went along through that journey?
Yeah. So, and as you say that, I remember now what the trigger was to get me to connect with you. I seen a video of you doing something with your horse, and I did not understand it at all, but I thought it was pretty amazing. And it was, you just had your hands on this horse and, you know, just feeling it. And I had seen that, and I was like, and it triggered in me that I missed that. And I was like, I need to figure out what that was. And I need my relationship back with my horses. Yeah. And so joining that group and seeing other horse people having, I don't know if issues is the right word, but having these issues and these struggles, and realizing you're not alone, you know, whether, and it doesn't matter what has pushed you away from the horse or has caused that, you're not alone. There's somebody else dealing with a horse who's colicked, or a lame horse, or anything that you've dealt with horses, kids and horses, anything, you know, so that's really what drew me to that group, and just kind of letting you take just a relax and be like, okay, this is a safe place. And it doesn't matter what issue I'm having, everybody can relate, and I can relate and learn from everybody else in that group as well. So it was just a place of comfort. I don't know if that's the right word, but it was like, okay, this is where I need to be right now.
Yeah. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about joining a community, is when you finally feel that there's no shame in what you're feeling. There's no reason to feel embarrassed for your struggles, or guilty that you've been avoiding horses for a while, or there's no shame in it, because you're not alone, because so many people deal with all that kind of stuff. They deal with the overwhelm, the anxiety, the stress, the fear, but because it's not talked about so openly, like, most people, they talk about the experience of, yeah, my horse had colic and I got busy and I just went away from it. People don't talk about the emotions behind it all. They don't talk about the anxiety, the stress, all of that kind of stuff, and even the sadness that can revolve around all that kind of stuff. And because no one talks about it, everyone thinks they're alone. And when you feel alone, that's where shame can just run wild and rampant and multiply and get bigger and more powerful. But when we actually start talking about it in an open atmosphere where there's no judgment, where it's a safe space, that's when you can start realizing that there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. And it's so encouraging. So I absolutely, I love that. Yeah, I love the community aspect. And for sure, I'm glad that you felt connected with others within that group to kind of help you realize that, you're not alone. And that, at the core value, this is a common struggle for so many.
Yeah.
So for
and
sure.
I think too, like with that group, it's like it almost goes, for me, is how it's kind of gone in waves, right? And it's like, when I needed it, it's there. And then it's like, okay, I feel a little independent. And then you can kind of go your own way. And then it's like, oh, you get drawn back. And, it's kind of like it's a wave, and it's just kind of there when you know it's there. And if you have a question or an issue, it's just there on your own time and your own growth.
Yeah, for sure. That makes a lot of sense, because it's true. We're all very busy people, and to think that you need to commit so many hours a week, to do this thing. It's just like, no, that's not how it works. You get to apply the time and the energy that you have that day or that week. And, you get out of it what you put into it. Some people can put in a lot. Some people only have a little bit to put in, and there's no right or wrong way. It's just whatever you feel ready for and called to do in that moment. So how would you say your relationship with your horse is now? So you went from, being really not connected and missing that and dealing with the fear and the sadness and the anxiety, to wanting that back again, right? So where are you now, like, now that we're talking like 6 months since kind of the start of this journey for you? How would you say your relationship is now?
My relationship with my horses is completely changed. It is night and day compared to what it was. I see my horses now, and I don't know how to explain that, but I see them. They see me. It's just now, I guess, connected. We're connected now, because now it's not just about, oh, I have horses, I should probably get on one and ride one this month.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now it's like, okay, let's go, let's spend time together. Let's, it's on just a different level at this point. It's just completely changed. And I believe it has changed, obviously, because I have changed, right? They were always there. They were there. They were open, like all horses are. They're ready anytime we are. And thankfully, my mare did make it through the colic surgery. She's fine. And thankfully they're there still waiting for me to to join their herd, right? And now we're a team. Yeah. And it's funny because in, 2017, when I was competing really hard, I thought, we had it all together and the connection, and we did. And now it's heightened. Wow. So it's completely changed.
Wow.
Yeah. And I see them. I see them. Yeah.
Yeah. When it's you're right. It's one of those things that is so hard to explain, because I get exactly what you're talking about, but I think it's something that we all long for, but we've almost been taught that it's impossible, but it's simply, I feel like you said, you changed, and so like your fear, your ego, your pride, because we all deal with ego and pride, this we all do. and when we let that control us, and the anxiety control us, and the overwhelm and the stress, that's so much static that just comes in between us and our horse. And so all we really see is just, it's a horse. We don't see that connection and feel that energy transfer between us and them when we finally let that go. I know Warwick Schiller, I'm not too sure if he's the original one to say this, but I hear him say it a lot, is you change yourself to change your horse. Because your horse doesn't really need to change that much. Your horse is reacting to you, and so your horse is doing its best to survive in the only way it knows how. But when we become that stronger, more stable, more happy, when our energy that's coming out of us is just happy and healthy, then the horses change just automatically, because they're like, oh, all right, I like what I'm feeling here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome.
For sure.
Yeah, I know it's been the times that we chat, it's been so amazing to see you change, and even just your comments, like, oh, I've been riding every single week or every single day this week. And it's so encouraging to see how much everything for you has changed. And even just you, like your face, your smile, your eyes, like you are a different person than who you were when I met you. And it's such an honor to watch kind of you transform. And I know, of course, I'm not obviously the only reason because of your changes, but to be a part of it has just been such a blessing. With all of this stuff that you've been learning about yourself and kind of that transformation that you've had, has this actually affected like your marriage and you as like more of like in that mother role with your kids?
Yeah, it's affected every aspect of my life. The relationship with my husband, he's married to a lot happier person now.
Yeah.
He's not married to somebody who is panicking, because the horses are laying down. He doesn't have to put up with my phone calls when I'm away at work. I mean, the odd time, it still creeps in there. I need to make that call.
Yeah.
How are the horses today? It still sneaks in there. But it's changed immensely. And the relationship with my kids, I mean, it's growing, because I like I said, I became an empty nester, and all I wanted to do was to go and bring them back home. I'm not ready for you to be out there.
Yeah.
And then when I sit back and look, okay, I raised them, it's time, and it's okay. And, so my work, my work is, way better. My mental clarity, like it's just, every aspect has changed. Every aspect of my life for the better.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. I think it is. I think we take for granted how much power we have within ourselves to change every relationship around us. When we don't become triggered, by others, when we don't let our anxiety affect a relationship, when we don't let our fear or our ego or, all of that kind of stuff, when it's contaminating everything, then that's when those silly little fights and bickering and jealousy and whatever it is, that's when it can come to the surface, because you're all of a sudden not in control of your emotions anymore. And so yeah, it's I know I've experienced the same thing in my life with learning all of this, and that's why I was so excited to share everything that I've learned with others, because I seen that like it took a horse to help me fix myself, which then fixed my horse, which then helped my marriage, which then helped my parenting. And so it's really funny because it did take a horse to get me here.
Yeah.
But thank you, horse, because it's transformed everything. And so it's such a blessing when we finally start connecting those dots and growing into who we're truly meant to be and shining our light the way it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly. And to touch on what you said before, like, no, I mean, there is no one thing that is going to transform somebody like I feel like I've done.
Yeah.
Because that all has to come from the inside.
Yeah.
And however, that being said, I've taken all these bits, and mushed them up together, and now this is what I'm becoming. And it's funny because when you're a part of a group like you have, it's amazing how, because sometimes through the feed you pass by a video and you'll feel like you don't even need to look at it, right?
Yeah.
And then the next time you're like, okay, I'll click on that, and you click on it, and it is like, poof, did I need to hear that? So it's really interesting how, I don't know if you want to call it the universe works, but when we put it out there, I mean, it's going to come back to us, and we just have to be open and ready for it. And I think that's the nice thing about the group. Like you say, there's no, you have to put in 5 hours this week, because honestly, there was some weeks where I didn't even, oh yeah, right, I'm a part of this group, right? Yeah. And then the next week it was like, I just have to, get in there and watch this and rewatch that. So it's very nice that way. And I think too, one of the biggest things that helped me through was, and I can't remember what you call it, but it's when you take the certain oils for certain emotions and work through that. Yeah, that was a game changer for me. That helped me release so much anger and fear that I had around, some of the stuff that was holding me back and holding me down. Wow. And that was I think the biggest game changer for me, was using that, little thing, and it's one little thing, right? But it was a big thing for me.
I remember the conversations we were having, and you were like, how is this even possible? You were so excited. It was amazing. It was so good. That was one of the funnest challenges I think we've had in there. Everyone was like, it was, and for me, even myself, because it's not like I come up with these ideas and I don't do them, it's stuff that I implement that I know I can benefit from too. And then I'm doing it too. And I'm like, holy man, this is awesome.
Yeah, it is crasiness, but that's worked. And so that's where I am. So.
Awesome. Well, I'm just so thankful for you. It's been amazing getting to know you, and I can call you such a dear friend of mine through all of this. And so thank you again for coming on here and sharing with all of us your journey. I know you are a massive encouragement and a blessing to so many. And your story is going to really inspire so many other people who watch this. And that's what this is all about, right? Paying it forward, sharing our journeys on what we've been learning and what's been working for us to kind of help us, because there's nothing worse than feeling alone. and isolated and embarrassed or shameful about where we are in this life, because where people are is where they are. But if you want to go somewhere, and if this sounds, interesting to you, then don't hesitate, reach out to me. I'd love to chat with you. And yeah, anyway, thanks again so much, Miranda. And we will chat again soon.
You're welcome, and thank you. It's been a journey, and it's not over yet. I'm so excited to see where this all goes.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Me too. All right. Take care.
Okay, thanks. Bye.